Hi, good morning. I'm Little Woo, and this is Woohoo Wednesday. Time for me to answer an existential life question I've received to give a little piece of insight or inspiration for your week. Today's question is how to balance the practical stuff that can be boring with the impractical stuff that can be fun. Each person's definition of practical and each person's definition of fun and boring, they're very different. So, for example, for me, I love teaching and it's super fun for me. But there are teachers out there who go to work and feel bored out of their minds. So for them, teaching is really boring. For some people, for me, I'm not that interested in cooking. So I find being in the kitchen not so much fun. But for other people, that is their fun. It may not be their livelihood, but it's a way for them to have fun, enjoy, be creative, and appreciate what they make. But I personally don't find the fun in it. So we all have different definitions of what's practical, what's fun, what's boring, what's impractical. So that's the first level of kind of response, is that every person's definition is different. Now the second level is that when you have things in your life that are practical and important for you to do, but they're not fun, then you can look at it in two ways. One is there a way to make the practical stuff more fun? Or is there a way to reduce the unfun part of it? So maybe you can't look at it differently. If you can't find another perspective and make it more interesting or fun or meaningful, then maybe you can reduce the frequency of it, or maybe you can find another way to do it. Maybe you can outsource it. For example, if you find house cleaning really not fun, then maybe if you're earning enough, you can give someone else employment who doesn't mind having work to clean, and for them that's important. So there's all these different ways to kind of reduce the unfun parts of our life, but we also need to be honorable. We need to be clean. We need to take care of practical stuff as well. So for me, one of the other methods for dealing with practical stuff that might be boring, because in my work I love most of what I do, but there are things that are frustrating or boring or not so much fun that I do have to do. And so part of it is, can I learn to make it more fun? If I can't find another perspective, then can I reduce it? If I can't, then the third thing is finding a way to look at it from a higher perspective of honor. So is this an honorable thing for me to do? Is it an important thing for me to do? So if it's not aesthetically pleasing or joyful, then at least it's aesthetically pleasing on an honor basis. So for me, it's like I said I would clean the bathroom, once a week, and I have a certain aesthetic for the bathroom. So even though it's not fun to clean the bathroom, especially behind the toilet, I love how it feels when it's done. And some people, they might find going to the gym is not so much fun, but they like the aesthetic pleasure afterwards of having strength and having fitness. So there's often ulterior motives that are aesthetically pleasing, and I mean aesthetics on a higher level, like meaningful, honorable, not just beautiful, but also beautiful. Beautiful in its intent, and beautiful in its nobility, and beautiful in its outcome. So if it's beautiful, that can turn something practical into something not maybe fun, but at least meaningful and beautiful. So that's how I balance the practical and the impractical, or the fun with the boring. And also a little side note about what's considered impractical. Again, like I said, someone might find something that is impractical to someone else to be actually very practical for them. So for example, someone I know teaches hula hooping. And for someone else that might be seeming like just a fun, impractical life skill. But for this other person, they found a way to turn this seemingly impractical skill and just fun into a livelihood, and they're doing really well. And I know lots of people who have turned seemingly impractical things into livelihoods. So in this day and age, we're in a time where fun is valued way more than it used to be. And because of that, we're able to create livelihoods around stuff that people before couldn't even imagine. They couldn't imagine someone making a living teaching hula hoop, or making a living making striped socks for a living. That because they're fun socks and they're not practical socks, but there's a market for fun. During the week, whenever you think of a question, just send me a private message on Facebook, or you can comment on any of the threads, these video threads that I have, and just let me know what you're thinking about. Let me know what your life existential comments or questions are, so that triggers me to make another video. Send to me by email if you want, if you prefer to go off Facebook. And my email address is treasures@littlewoo.org. And also, I'd like to invite you to try my free course that's called The Magical Sabbatical, Making Time for Yourself. And it's really actually apropos to today's question, because a sabbatical is a chance for you to explore maybe an impractical thing that you've been really excited to try, but you haven't been able to find the practical time for it. So maybe your life is full of practical stuff and you would just really love to do a travel adventure sabbatical, or you'd love to do a creativity sabbatical where you just spend a couple of months just building something artistic, or something, do a writing project that's not necessarily to sell or to turn into a livelihood, but just something you've always wanted to do. So, or to learn a new skill. So this course explains 10 different types of sabbaticals that you can do that help you explore maybe some impractical things that could become livelihoods, could become rejuvenation methods for you. So whenever you're maybe too practical in your life, you need to take a sabbatical to really enjoy more of the fun in life, to rebalance it. So I would also offer that taking a sabbatical is a very powerful tool for creating that kind of balance. If you tend to be overly practical person, very task oriented, very ambitious, and maybe very constantly goal oriented, and you find it hard to have fun. And vice versa, if you're always having fun and you don't seem to be able to build something or commit to something, then doing a sabbatical is also the opposite. You can use it to do something super practical, like creating a business. I call that a project sabbatical. You can spend 6 months just really focused on that, and kind of moving away from your normal fun lifestyle, like instead of all the parties and all the events and all the distractions, you actually take some time to really get centered and work, and you let your community and your friends know that you're on a work sabbatical. So those are ways to use a sabbatical to balance the practical and impractical, or the boring and the fun. I hope that this has helped, and I will see you next Wednesday. Thank you so much for tuning in. I love you. Mwah.